Hello, welcome to our roll and release session today. You're going to find one other video on our YouTube channel that you can work them both together on different days and work through the whole body. Today's class, we're going to cover the lats, chest, shoulders, triceps. Then we'll hit our calves and our hamstrings and our glutes on that posterior side. We're going to finish with the jaw and the neck. If at any time you're moving through some of these positions and it's not feeling right, you might have some injuries or history in those areas, you can always come up off the floor, use the wall, and if it just doesn't suit you, you can move ahead to the next posture. Today we'll be using rollers and the balls. So depending upon what you have, you can use any type of roller. My roller is bumpy, it's a rumble roller, which I'm choosing to use today. I enjoy these ones, but you can use a flat, smooth roller or one with less bumps. We're also going to use compression ball. There's many different types of these. And these two pieces of equipment can be found on Amazon. It could be found on yogaoutlet.com. So I'm sure there's some other websites you can price these out and find them. And the balls typically run $12 to $15 for the set or the pair. As we start today, find your roller, your mat, the carpet, or something nice on the ground. And we're going to start with our lats. First, let's test out and see how our lats are doing. Our lats are the muscles that connect from our back across, and they touch onto the humerus. And they wrap by that shoulder blade down to the spine and come down the body to the hips. So they affect a lot in our body. If our lower back is tight, or our lats are tight, it can affect the shoulder and our shoulder mobility, and it can affect the back and the lower back hamstring situation. So what we want to do is test our arms. Raise them both overhead, move them around. See what kind of range of motion you have. You can bring them down and out to the side. And what's going on with those arms as you move them? Are you able to bring them overhead? Or are they stuck a little bit lower? Can you bring them by the ears? Can you move them backwards and forward? Make circles like you're swimming through the water. Just test those arms out and see how they feel on both sides. And come back to center. Find that roller and place it towards the top of your mat. Stretch your body out nice and long. I'm on my right side to start. I'm going to stretch out my right arm and place the roller on the back side of my armpit, right in that crease where I'm touching my arm as well, the back side of my shoulder into the armpit, and I'm on the lats is the muscles I'm on. And right now you guys might think, oh, this is horrible and painful, which means your lats are really tight. And they can be tight from using them all the time, or they can be tight from underuse as well. So we want to try to release that tension that you're holding onto there. So with this tucked into the back side of my armpit, I can place my palm up or down, either way, whichever is comfortable. I have my base laying on the ground. I don't need to come up and contract these muscles. I have my left arm and left leg as some support. So if I need to alleviate a little bit of pressure, I can with either of those. Start by wiggling head to toe, just a little bit, up and back, just a little wiggle, 6 times. This sends a signal to our body neurologically. It wakes it up, tells it you're going to do something to it. It also gives you feedback on how sore you are. After 6 little wiggles, only worry about the area on top of the roller, not the whole lat yet. We're going to go across the fiber. So I'm going to lean backwards 1 to 2 inches and return to my starting position on the back side of the armpit. Inhale, lean back. Exhale, come forward. And continue back and forth. Nice and easy. 4 times. If you feel like you want to do 5 or 6, you're more than welcome to. After our 4th time, we return back to center, keeping the hand extended, the arm extended. I'm going to make 1 roll up the roller. So move my head forward, which moves the roller down the body. Adjust so you're on more of the back side of the armpit, just below where the armpit lays. And we're going to start with 6 wiggles. If you feel like you're on the side by your ribs next to your chest, turn the chest upwards. As you can see, my angle is about a 45-degree angle up towards the ceiling, and I'm still laying on the hips. 6 wiggles up and back. Again, stick to the back side of the lats. And then 4, side to side. Lean towards the spine, towards the shoulder blades, and return to your starting position. Inhale and exhale. And we're going slow. We want to release the tissue, move those superficial layers of fascia around, increase the fluids, but I don't want to cause more damage to the tissue. Just breathe. You can close the eyes and work your way down the back. I'm going to continue to go with you because we change our angles as we hit our back. So again, come back to center, one more roll up. And you can see how I'm facing the ceiling a little bit more now. My legs aren't 100% up, right? My torso still turns slightly, but I'm staying with the lat muscles versus along the rib cage. So if you feel like you're on your side too far on those ribs, lean back so you find the lat muscle. 6 wiggles up and back. And then side to side. Now going closer to the spine, not necessarily on the spine, and returning to center. Good. Roll back and return. 2 more times, nice and easy. Stick with the muscles in the lat region. After your 4th time, once again, you should be closer towards the bottom of the ribs, or right in the middle, right where that chest is, or bottom of the chest. And now we're going to face more upright. We're on our back side, not necessarily at an angle. So continue to have the hips down. Balance the legs. If you need both, you can have them up. I like to keep my right leg straight so I can still rock back and forth. My left hand, my right hand can be my stability. 6 wiggles. And 4 side to side. Once again, only worrying about what is on top of the roller. If it's a little more sore, you can go slower, just stay on the lat and not move. Let the bumps do their job if you're using a bumpy roller. If you're less sore, you can go a little bit quicker, but still keep it controlled. 1 more roll. 6 and 4. That's your rule for today with the lats. This comes from the Alexander method of SMR. You can find more information on his technique at smrtips.com. And 4 side to side. We're going to work our way all the way to the tops of the hips. Just focus on your 6 and 4, back and forth. I'm going to slide myself down my mat, finding the same spot. When I get to the bottom of the ribs, the floating ribs, be a little more careful there. They are just connected by the cartilage. So we don't want to press into them too hard, but again, it would be difficult to pop them off. So just be nice and easy. Still take care of your body parts and listen to your body. If you're longer, you might have 1 or 2 more rolls left. If you're a little bit shorter, you might be close to that hip region. And we'll do 1 more together as a group. You can always pause the video if you have 1 more to do. Side to side, nice and easy. As you finish, go ahead and sit back up and retest your arms. See how that one side you did compares to the other. Do you have a little more range of motion? Or is it easier with your range of motion to move the arm around? See how the side feels? It opens up the side body, one side compared to the other. Find yourself back to center, and we'll switch sides with the roller. I'm going to be on my left side now. Once again, starting at that crease in the back side of the armpit, right where that lat starts, connects to the humerus, across those shoulder blades, underneath them, and then to the spine and to the hips. So the first 2 rolls are typically the most tender. So definitely brace yourself how you need to. Start with your 6 wiggles, or just resume just a light pressure, and then 4 side to side. Nice and easy, follow your breath. The lats are considered another primary region, along with the rectus femoris and inner quads. So this is considered one that's needed to do at least once a week. That's your minimum. Maximum is every other day. We don't want to beat up the soft tissue too much. So give yourself 48 to 72 hours in between rolls, just like you would with a deeper massage. Come back to center. Roll yourself up 1 roller width. Keep your angle about 90 degrees and start with your wiggles. 45 degrees, and start with your wiggles. After 6, side to side, rolling towards the spine and back, towards the spine, and return to where you started. If you feel like you're on your ribs too much, lean back just a little bit more, adjust the roller. 1 roller up. Now we're turning a little more towards the ceiling, opening up the chest. You can continue to have your left arm extended. Keep your support, 6 wiggles and 4 side to side. And close the eyes and breathe. Imagine the lats loosening, opening up for more space in the shoulder blade region, and opening up for more space in the side bends. Roll up once again. You might be wondering why we're rolling 1 roller width each time, instead of just picking the roller up and moving, or sitting up and moving. What happens is we miss sections of the body. We miss some of those soccer mirrors, the muscle fibers that we're trying to hit. So that rolling 1 roller width keeps us on there and keeps us going to that next region without skipping sections. If you find yourself you're not rolling quite far enough, you can think about measuring it out 3 inches, touch the bottom where it needs to be, and as you roll your next roll, bring your hand to the top of the roller so it moves it 3 inches, so you know you've rolled far enough. You can always keep the roller in the spot you need to be. Adjust yourself on your mat if needed. So same thing, 6 and 4 all the way down. Work to the top of the hips, top of the glutes. After your 6 wiggles, breathe as you're going back and forth. As we move throughout today's class, remember water is important, just like after a massage. So you can keep it handy and have drinks throughout class, or just make sure you're having a good glass of water afterwards. Almost there. If you find yourself already at your hips, you can pause the video, or you can follow along, maybe coming back to the top of the lat. You need a little extra love in that armpit section as we finish the rolls. One more, 6 and 4, top of the hip, relaxing down. Keeping the hips down on the floor. If you find yourself your roller's a little bit taller, place a blanket underneath the hips or roll the mat a little bit thicker, or raise the floor up, making the roller shorter. So our last roll, and follow your breath, don't rush through it. As you finish, use those arms, gently press up, back to a seated or kneeling position. Retest the arms once again. See how each of the lats move. You have some more range of motion as you're swinging. You can check your side bends, one side, coming back to the next, and see how the body feels. Roll the shoulders up and back and down, and roll them forward towards the ears and down. Good, and shrug up, and let it go. Good, shake that tension out if you're holding anything else to the shoulders. Set the roller to the side and grab 1 or 2 of the balls that you have. Right now we'll work with one, but if you have to, you can keep them handy. I like using my tote for one of the for the delts that we're going to use soon, so you can keep them in the tote, or if you only have one, you can do the same thing with one ball, either way. Right now we're going to stretch out the chest, so we just loosened up the lats, but if our chest stays tight, our lats will just remain getting tighter and tighter again, so we need to get the chest loose next. So taking the ball, think about your midline where your sternum is. I'll move the strings of my sweatshirt. And I'm placing the ball in the heel of my hand. I'm going to knead it into the chest muscle. Your pec muscle basically runs 3 different directions. We're going to focus more on the top of the chest, below the collarbone, across the body towards the front anterior delt. Starting at that midline, roll towards the heel of the hand, the ball rolls up towards my delt and come back. I'll lean over so you guys can see. Pressing forward, roll towards the shoulder and come back. So kneading the chest muscles. If they're not very sore, you can go light pressure and a little bit quicker. If you're sore, be nice and gentle. We'll do this anywhere from 6 to 10 times. As you come across the front of the delt, you can test out how sore or tender that is. If you do a little more chest work or push-ups, you might feel the tenderness in the front of that delt. For yoga, if you're doing a lot of chaturangas, you might feel a little bit more in this front delt pec area. Now one more time, and then we'll switch sides. So switch sides of the ball, rolling from chest out to the shoulders. Stay below the collarbone. You can go right along the edge, but try not to knead too much on the collarbone. You don't need to kind of irritate any of the tissue there. There's not a lot of muscle right on top. Go ahead and gently release. Bring the arms back of the body. Interlace the fingers. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders and raise the arms. One more breath. And gently release down. Now interlace your fingers non-dominant. So move the hands one knuckle notch. Same thing. Inhale, chest up, squeeze the elbows, the shoulder blades together. And inhale as we lift those hands away from the body. Continue to breathe for one round of breath. And gently release back down to the hips. Relax the arms again. If you have the 2 balls, you can place them in your tote, or if you don't have a tote, you can use a sock or a nylon stocking, or you can tape them together for a moment. If you only have 1 ball, use 1, and we're going to start going across the delts. And for this, we'll use a wall. I'll demonstrate. I like to use a block against the wall as well. So on this block, it gives me some more room for my arms and limbs and space to the wall. Where we're going to start with the balls is right in the middle of the delt, so medial delt, and you'll stand sideways against the wall. First, we're going to go the length of the delt, which is that bump on the shoulder. So 2-3 inches down, maybe 4 or 5 for some of you, to the tops of the shoulders, up and down in the middle. And to do this, we'll bend and we'll extend. So it's like little baby mini squats. Then we'll work the front and then the posterior delt in the back. Then coming to a position in the middle, side to sides, the front side to side and the back side to side, releasing the delt. We'll work all one arm with the delts, and then we're going to transfer to the back of the arm, the triceps. The triceps are the muscles. There's 3 heads to the triceps. They're on the back of the arm. They're used for things like planking, push-ups, just holding the body. They firm up in our downward dogs. So these muscles can be nice and sore, and so we want to take care of them. On this section for the triceps, we'll do the same thing, up and back and side to side, releasing the triceps. We'll also do a little bit of movement with the arms. Now, if you don't have wall space, you can do these things on the floor as well. They're a little more difficult. So if you can find even a smidgen of the wall, you can use it. I'm going to use my fireplace area up here. So I'm going to place a block, and I'll come down onto my knees. Place a block against the wall, the balls against the block. And I'll start by squatting and extending up and back the length of the mid-delt. Do this anywhere from 4 to 6 times. This is the striations with the fibers. Now move the blocks, move the balls towards the back side of the delt, up and down. This sends the signal, lets you know how sore you are. And then I'll do the front, so I need to lean further, closer to the wall, turn my belly towards the wall, and up and back on the front side of the delt. Return to center, middle of the delt. Now we'll work side to side. Side to side, you might have to come facing the wall and all the way back out. 3 or 4 times in each section. Now, based upon where you were sore, you can choose the front, the side, the back, the whole thing, whatever you need for your delt release. 1 ball, width down, next spot. And for many of us, it might just be 2 times. For some people who have bigger delts, bigger shoulder muscles, there might be a couple more rolls. I'm going to do 1 in the front, back and forth. And go ahead and stop and release. Now we're going to switch to our triceps. On your triceps, you're going to bring your back towards the wall. The back side of your arm is going to be pressed against the balls, the upper arm. And you can keep it down by the elbow or up by the armpit. We'll come up and down, traveling the length of the wall, loosening up the length of the tricep. Let the feedback come into your mind. How sore are you in these triceps? We're going to loosen up 2 areas. Your choice, the lower part by the elbow, the middle part, or the upper part. And if you need to do all 3, you can pause the video and do all 3. Starting down by the elbow, we're going to bend our elbow, palm up, and make circles, just like what we've done before with the quadriceps. And pause and switch directions, circles the other way. And flex and extend, up and back. Move the balls now to the mid-triceps. Palm up once again, make circles. Circles the opposite direction. And flex and extend, up and back. And go ahead and pause. If you need to do one more section of the tricep, you can pause the video now. Otherwise, we'll switch sides, working the delts first. If you want to see if the delts on one side, the shoulders on one side, are any looser compared to the other, you can move the shoulders, roll, pick up the arms, come up and down, cactus arms, back and forth, forward and back. Also shoulder socket rotations, 4 fingers forward, thumbs back, bring the elbows up, down, and together. You might feel a little less stiffness or an ease, a lighter weight of the delts. Release the arms. Lift both hands overhead. The arm that you did release, drop it behind the back like you're patting yourself on the back for a tricep stretch. You can see how the triceps feel. Release and switch compared to the opposite arm. Maybe it's a little tighter or more stiff. And release and come back down. And now we'll start on the opposite side. Block. Once again, we'll start in the medial, the middle deltoid. Move to the back and move to the front. Up and down. That's superficial, giving us feedback, letting us know we're sore, and then we'll do across the fibers where we need to. We'll move to the tricep, up and down, and then pick some of the fibers to go back and forth on. And if you need more time, you can pause the video and continue to work on your arm. Placing block on the wall, balls on the block, up and down. And I know you can't see the balls right now, but they're staying from the top of the shoulder to the bottom of the delt. And that's anywhere from 2 to maybe 5 inches, depending upon the person. Now leaning towards the back side of the delt, still staying on the shoulder arm, up and down. Continue to squat, use a little baby mini squat to move the balls up and down. My arm is just dangling down. And now moving to the front, the anterior delt. Front side of the shoulder, facing the wall more, up and back. You can go a little quicker if you're not as sore. If you feel like you're more sore, go slower. You can even pause at some regions that just need pressure. And find yourself back to center. We're going to do some cross fiber. You can start at the bottom or the top of the delt, either way. Forward and back across the fiber. If you feel like you have some bumps, some tension areas, go a little slower. Take care of these areas. You can even stay with one of the balls in the bumps and pause. And a reminder, if you don't have the balls but you have a roller, you can do the same motion with the roller. All right, slide the balls down one ball width towards the bottom of the deltoids, back and forth across the fibers. And you can find one arm, it has a little more tension than the other. There's various reasons this could be. It could be maybe it's doing a little more work during your sessions of exercise. It could be weaker, and so it has to do more work to keep up with the stronger side. It could be a little bit weaker and just tighter. Maybe you have kids and hold a baby on that side. All different reasons. And come back to center. We'll move to the triceps. So once again, bringing your back towards the wall, triceps to the balls, to the back side of my arms, my thumbs facing forward, up and down the length of the triceps. That's from the upper arm, the back side of the elbow, to right below the deltoid. Adjust my block down just a little bit. And then bring the balls down towards the elbow, bend the hand palm up, and make circles in one direction. This movement rotates the arm and it massages the triceps along the balls. And flex and extend the elbow. Bring the balls up about halfway on the tricep, or all the way up if you prefer, and start with your circles, palms up once again. Circle 3 to 6 times one way, 3 to 6 times the other. You can go a little quicker if you're not as sore, or slower if you are. Take care of your body and listen to it. More pain doesn't necessarily mean better, but you might need to have a little bit of discomfort so you can get the release. And finish with your flex and extends. And relax the arm. If you're using the ball in the block, go ahead and come off the wall, and we'll retest those arms once again. Inhale, hands up. Drop the arm you just rolled out behind the back, stretching the tri. And release. Switch arms. See if they feel a little more similar. And release. Bring forefingers forward, thumbs back for your shoulder socket rotations. See how the tops of the shoulders feel when we're rotating. How are the lats still feeling, the under part, the back side of those armpits? Switch directions. And release. Come back down. Just generally move your arms in different ways. How are those shoulders, arms feeling? A little more loose up top? Hopefully. Good. We're going to change focus to our lower body now. So find your roller or the balls again. We're going to be seated down on the mat, down on the floor. So for this one, we're going to keep our hips down. Just like before, we don't want to contract and press everything up off the ground. We want to relax the muscles we're trying to release. We're going to focus on the back side of the calves. So you have your soleus, you have your Achilles down here, you have your soleus and your gastroc muscles. We're going to focus mainly on those. Starting where the gastroc and the soleus meet if you don't have a lot of time. Or what we're going to do today is start down by the ankle and work our way all the way up. So placing the roller underneath the back side of the heel of the ankle, tucks in both sides, and you have your malleolus, your ankle bone, on each side of this roller of the bumps. You can also use the balls, and you can use the balls on top of a block, or again, anything to lift it up if you need to as well. You could stay here. If this isn't that much pressure, you can also place the foot on top or leg on top for a little bit more pressure. I'll place my foot so you can see the roller and see everything that's going on. Hips down, hands into the ground. Now, if your shoulders and neck are a little stiff and tight today, you can lay all the way down and relax the body to take away some of that pressure in the shoulders. I'll remain seated so I'm upright. You can see and hear everything I'm doing. My right leg is on the roller and back of the heel. I'm going to cross my left leg over the top and add a little bit of pressure, and I'm going to start with my 6 wiggles. Up and back, only worrying about what is on top of the roller. Back and forth. Once I do my 6 wiggles, and if you lose count like I always do, it's okay, I'm going to go 4 side to side. So cross fiber, nice and easy, 4 side to side. If you find this is a little too much pressure with the leg, you can take it off, nice and easy. As your foot is up on the roller, pay attention to the knee. If it's feeling like it's hyperextending, place a blanket or an extra yoga mat underneath the knee to keep that nice and protected. After your 4 side to side, you can have some choices. You can change up your motions. And as we move up the leg, you can try these different motions. You have your side to side. You can also do flex and extend, where you're pointing the toe in plantar flexion and pulling it back in dorsiflexion. So you can come plantar flexion and dorsiflexion, back and forth. You can also make circles. Rotate the ankle in one direction 4 times. And rotate the ankle in the other direction 4 times. And each of these 3 movements can be done in each spot, but they don't have to. You can choose just one. I'm going to roll myself down towards the roller, which brings the roller up my calf. Add the pressure if you need to, and start with your 6 superficial rolls up and back. 6 and 4 is your general roll today. After my 6 of the superficial prepping, I want to choose side to side, circles, or up and back. Right now I'm going to choose circles. I'm in my soleus region, and your soleus might be more sore on the outside or the inside. So these circles will help you gently rotate and hit all these areas. Same with the side to side action. Play with each of them and see what one works the best for you in each spot. As you move up the leg into the gastrocs, this might change. After 4 each direction, once again, roll yourself down. Try not to have to pick up the hips all the way and move the calf off the roller. Just keep rolling. Even if you roll down off your mat, it's okay. 6 and 4, once again. This time I'm going to do my side to side action. I'm not quite where my gastroc is. Some of you guys who are slightly shorter, you might be already at the gastroc. Try to find some side to side or circle action in this region and see if it helps loosen up those muscles. The muscles in the calves are what move the ankle. The muscles in the feet are what move the toes. So it's surprising, we use these calf muscles all the time to pull our foot back from the front, and the ones in the back help plant the toe. So every time we step off the ground when we're walking, we're using these muscles. After your 4, slide yourself down. 6 once again. If you get to a spot, especially up on the gastrocs, you might find the outside or the inside is a little bit more sore. You can go a little more gentle. You can just stay and put pressure, or you can just try really gentle flex and extend. Test yourself out and see how you're doing. And you might find you need something different on one day Then you do the next based upon your activity. After your 4, go to the next spot. And as you see, we might be on our calves for anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes on this side, but we're not on one spot 5 to 7 minutes. We're not there much more than 30 seconds, maximum 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, you're just beating up the muscles. So we don't need to stay there any longer than that. Do your 6 and 4 and move on. You're not going to fix everything in just one roll one day. Take your time. Calves are considered a secondary, even though they're very important to many of us because we're so active. Think about making sure you're releasing these calves at least once every 2 weeks minimum. Maximum is still every other day. 48 to 72 hours is better so we don't beat up this tissue. Keep moving all the way up, and we're going to work our way towards the back of the knee. Test out the different motions. Don't be afraid. Some might have a little more bite back towards you. It might not be as comfortable, and that's okay. I'm going to finish my last roll right here. I'm at the top of my gastroc towards the back of the knee. Be careful in the back of the knee. Again, we have some nerves. We have a muscle called popliteus, but we also have a nerve that runs back there. And sometimes it's hard if we're sore to differentiate between the nerve and the muscle. So don't dig around too much with, fine points, thumbs, things like that, because we don't want to damage any nerves. Nice and easy back and forth. And once you finish, go ahead and come off the roller and stand up. To test out our calves, we're going to come onto our toes. So lift and extend down. Lift and extend down. You can even do some baby jumps if you would like. If you want to see how you balance, you can stand on both toes. Inhale, bring both hands up. Come onto the toes. Exhale and release. One more time. Inhale onto the toes. And exhale and release. You're going to find yourself back down to the mat, to the roller, and we'll switch sides. Placing the lower leg onto the roller once again, so the lower heel. The roller kind of cups both sides of my heels with the bumps. I can place the opposite leg on top or keep it off. Start with your 6, and then choose your motion of 4. And it might be flex and extend. It could be circles, or it could be cross fiber side to side. Once you do your 4, next spot, 6 and 4. If you're doing circles, you can do 4 each direction, and you can go fast or slow depending upon how sore you are. If you're a little more sore, less pressure. And work your way all the way down the calves, up towards the knee. As you get to the gastroc, remember you might need some different motions than you did in the soleus region. Hit both sides of the gastroc head. That's the bigger, higher muscle. It has 2 heads, the medial side and the lateral side. And make sure you're getting both of them. For me, I tend to be more sore on the outside of my gastroc than I do on the inside. So the activities that I do and how I use my body makes me a little more tender in those areas. Back and forth, nice and easy. Work your way all the way to the back of the knee, 6 and 4. And if you're finished, you can pause the video. And if you need it a little longer, you can always pause and continue all the way up your calf. Just don't spend too long there. 30 seconds to 2 minutes maximum at every spot. Really, 2 minutes is a lot. This will be my last roll. I'm at the top of the calf muscles. Nice and easy, back and forth. And once you finish, once again, stand up. Test out both calves, see how they feel. You can do your balance again. And hopefully they're equally feeling a little looser, a little better. And find yourself, like, once again, down on the mat with your roller or with the balls. And if you have two, you can use two, and we'll switch to one and show you some different techniques because we're going to move to the hamstrings. So for the hamstrings, in our seated position, we can do a seated forward fold. Come into staff, which is kind of this L-shaped, nice long spine. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, bring the arms out to the side, and forward fold, leading with the chest. So keep a long lower back versus tucking the hips underneath and rolling. And just test out how your hamstrings feel. We haven't done a lot of hamstring warm-up. We haven't done any hamstring warm-up. So they might feel a little stiff and tight. So don't worry about getting too low. Just get some feedback on how your hamstrings feel and how the low back feels with the stretch. Go ahead and relax from your forward fold. With your roller, we're going to do one leg at a time, starting with my right leg. On this one, and I'm going to show you some options. So if this is hard, so if the shoulders and neck becomes a little bit hard, I'm going to gently pick my hips up, just a little. I'm still keeping my weight down towards the earth, even though I'm off just a little bit. I'm not contracting everything to sit up. So everything's nice and relaxed down. But just picking just a little. And I'm going to just do a superficial area with the hamstring, so above the knee. And then I can work side to side. Keep the hips down, side to side. Now, if this is too much shoulder, you can come into a seated position on a chair or a tabletop if it's safe to sit on. And you can do the same thing with the balls. So you can have a lower reference. You can still roll side to side, rock side to side. You can also add, if your foot's dangling, a flex and extend. When I do my flex and extend, if I add pressure, I want to add pressure, extend, relax, and come back. Pressure, extend, relax, and come back. So you can do any of those options. I'll stay on the ground today with the rollers. So on my next spot, 6 and 4, side to side. Just like with the calves. A little further up, 6 and 4. Now I've got to pick my hips up. I'm sitting on top of the roller for this last spot. I'm underneath the glutes, still on the hamstrings, back and forth. If you have a longer roller, you could do both legs at the same time, if you would like. And gently bring the hips down to the ground, and we'll switch sides. Starting at the top back of the knee. 6, up and back, superficial. And 4, side to side. If you like the hamstring, you use the roller, but you want to try the balls, next time you could use the balls and see how they do. And I'll show you one more release work with these after we finish with the roller on the ground. Continue, think one roller width each spot as we move up the legs. If you're finding yourself a little more tender, maybe you did some deadlifts or RDLs or more hamstring work the day before or 2 days before, go a little more gentle. You might just even put a tiny, gentle bit of pressure. I'm just resting my hands there. You don't need to push down, contract everything. So nice and gentle. 6 and 4, keep working your way up. Again, I don't have to spend a long time on each region. I want to go slow, be deliberate without whatever tissues on top of the roller, and then move to the next spot. Got a couple more rolls till I'm at the top of my hamstrings. If you're already there, you can pause and wait, or you can pause if you have a little more hamstring to go. . Just like the arms, you might find your hamstrings, one is a little tighter than the other. Just take care, treat both of them equally with love. I'm on my last roll of the hamstrings, below the glutes, back and forth. And return back to center after your 6 and 4. Slide yourself on the mat in the middle. Slide the roller away. And we're going to try our seated forward fold once again. Sit nice and high, lengthen the spine, sit bones down, staff position. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, wide arms, forward fold, hinging at the hips. Bring the chest forward, belly closer to the legs if that's in your practice. See how the hamstrings feel compared to when we started. You can do the same thing in a standing position. So if you were seated or on one of your chairs or tables, you can just come down to the ground onto the feet. Gently release the hold and come back up. So another example of what we can do with the hamstrings is we want to take one ball out. And we can do this with these compression balls. As I said, I like these ones the best because they do have a little give. You can also use it with a lacrosse ball. When we're working our hamstrings, we want to be careful that we don't leave the ball there in regions for a long time. So if you're driving, yes, this is a great thing to do to alleviate some stress, putting the ball into regions. But we don't want to leave it into each section more than 2 minutes. You have your sciatic nerve that runs along through this back hip region, and this can start to irritate it after a while. And if you have any sciatic nerve pain, this isn't recommended. So finding yourself on a ledge, you'd like to have your feet dangling. For right now, for demonstration purposes, let's see if I can use my bench. And you can find yourself nice and seated on your table, your bench, or your chair. And you can place the ball in different regions underneath the hamstring, like we demonstrated earlier. You can just stay here and let the ball do its work. It's like a little massage for the hamstrings. You can also place a little bit of pressure. I'm barely pressing more pressure than just my hand weight. You can also press down and extend, release pressure, and come back. Press down, extend the knee, release, and flex. And 5 or 6 times, and move it to the next section of the hamstrings. You can move it all around. This is something that if you feel like you need a little more hamstring release, you're more than welcome to pause the video and work both sides of the legs. We'll pause this side and come to the other. So find a spot where you're more sore in the opposite hamstring. Place the ball. You can choose pressure or no pressure. You can flex the leg, extend the leg, release pressure and flex back. Pressure, extend the knee, release and flex. One more time. And release. And find one more spot in the hamstring. Now, if you feel like I don't have a chair or I don't have something where I can bring my foot up off the ground, you can still do it lower. Your just range of motion's a little bit less, and that's absolutely okay. You'll still get some release in that hamstring with the ball. All right, bring the ball out and come on down. Pause the video if you want to do a few more spots in those hamstrings. While we're standing, go ahead and touch those toes. See how the hamstrings are feeling today. Bend the knees and return back up. Find yourself down to your mat once again. We need one ball. And this is for our glutes, our backside, our booties. So for this, I'm going to start on the right side. I'm going to have my one ball on the outside of my high glute. So if this is my top of my hip bone, my glute muscle is the top of my butt, my glute meats with the outer top part. And I'm going to place the ball right next to me. It's not underneath me, so I'm not lifting up and coming down. So it's right next to me because I'm going to roll over on it and it'll place the ball right where I need to. If I place it underneath me, when I roll over, I'll show you what happens on the other side. So I place it underneath where I think the glute meat is, and I roll over and now I'm off the ball and it's sticking out the other side. So place it right next to the body, not underneath. Bend the opposite knee. Extend the same ball side arm out to the side or overhead to give yourself a little pillow. You can also use your blocks as a little pillow. Roll onto the ball. So push off the opposite leg, roll onto the ball, and just lay and relax. Let the ball absorb into this glute med muscle. This muscle is one that's used for those knee stabilization work. We use it all the time in our yoga postures. And we want it to function properly so our body works efficiently. We'll stay on the ball anywhere from 30 seconds up to 2 minutes. So just breathe and close your eyes. Think about it absorbing into this muscle. If it's biting back, if it hurts a little bit too much, you can always roll off for a moment and come back. Now underneath, you might be able to see the ball just a little bit right here in that glute med region. If you feel like it's higher on the hip, just roll yourself up, maybe a ½ inch. That's all you might need. Keep it in the tissue of the booty, our juicy booties. 2 more breaths. Gently release, coming up. Now from here, you can move the leg around, move the hips around, and see how that hip feels. We're going to switch sides. Extend the opposite leg. My leg I just released is bent and back. The ball stays right next to the glute med. Extend the arm out to the side and make a pillow. Roll on to the ball and relax. Breathe. You're going to feel the ball push into this glute med area. And your muscles might be contracting. They might be so tight they're contracting around it. Try to breathe through that slightly. If it's too comfortable, or too uncomfortable, you can always roll off and then try to come back on. Continue to breathe. Close the eyes. Let it absorb. One more breath. Gently roll off onto your back. Staying down in your prone position, find your block if you would like to. So if it is somewhere throughout the room, you can go grab it. You can also use a pillow if needed. So for this next one, we're going to move from the hips and the lower back up to our jaws. So our jaws is an area where we can hold a lot of tension. So this little, well, the masseter muscle right in here, this is what we're going to be putting the ball. So think if you can push down and find that curve where your jaw, right where your teeth are, we're going to put the ball right in that opening region. So placing the ball, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to place myself on the blocks. If your pillow's too squishy, maybe double or triple it up. And from here, I'm going to move my jaw up and back. Open and close. Open and close. One more time. Open and close. And make circles with the jaw. Around in a circle, kind of for a cow, chewing cud. Round and around. Switch directions. And then keeping the pressure there on master, tilt the head as if we're doing yeses. And tilt as if we're doing no's. Just gently, not very far. Open one more time. And say, ah, as we close. We'll do it together. Open, ah, and close. And gently remove the ball. We'll switch sides in a moment. First, we'll test out our jaw. See how it feels compared to the other side. Sometimes you're like, ah, it's a little tender, but later on you might feel like, oh, I could open up my jaw a little more. So find the masseter muscle right where the opening of the teeth, that little crease part is, placing down on the face onto the block. Open and close, nice and gentle. Massaging the muscle, open and close. Now making circles with the jaw in one direction and circles with the other direction. And then shaking your head, yes. Shaking little nose. We'll take 2 breaths this time. Inhale, open the mouth. Exhale, let it go, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And gently release. Once again, test out the jaw and see how it feels. Test out. Hopefully it feels even on both sides. And again, if it's a little bit tender for a moment, the other side should be feeling better already. It only takes about 30 seconds. And if it was a little too much, ease up next time on those masseter muscles. And those are those chewing muscles. So for our last pose today with the balls, we're going to work the back of the neck. So you have your occipitals, the little bumps. If you feel the back of the neck, the bumps, the back lines of the neck around the spine, back of the head. And you can place the balls in the tote, or you can have them separate. If you have other balls, I have these little spiky balls. They're almost like dryer balls that I've found throughout the years. And I'm going to place those ones right back there in this region. If you do choose a ball and you're just feeling like, that doesn't feel right, it's giving me a headache, you can drop it down to the high points of the shoulders. You can place the head on the block. Just be careful of the angle. Sometimes it tilts our head too much, and I'll demonstrate. Or we're leaning too far up and it's not great for our cervical spine. So be very careful of that. You can always take the block out and drop down to the mat, keeping the balls in those occipitals. We're just going to rest here for a moment. And again, if you're like, I don't like the ball I chose, I want to switch to another ball. If you only have one, you could do one side at a time as well. I feel like sometimes this mesh slips on my hair, the shape of the head, so I hold it with my fingers in place, which you can do as well. So as I keep the pressure there, I'm going to gently nod yes, moving the balls, massaging through this area. Back to center. Now no, nice and gentle, side to side, not very far. And back to center, and just lay for a moment. If you'd like to move the balls a little bit lower onto the neck, you can slide them down closer onto the neck region. If you'd like the block, you can keep the block there. Once again, you can do your yeses or do your nos. And gently release the block and the balls. Set them to the side and come down to the mat. Just take a moment to relax the body down, relax the neck. If you would like, you can take the hands and extend the back of the neck, lengthen and place the head down, lengthening the cervical spine. Tuck the shoulders underneath, opening up the chest. Stretch the legs out, opening up the front side of the body, letting the calves relax, the hamstrings relax, and glutes relax. Let the feet dip out to the sides. We'll spend 1 minute in this corpse pose Shavasana position. And as we do this, we'll meditate and scan our bodies, starting with our feet and our toes. And if we're holding on to any tension, as we exhale, let it go. Scanning across our shins, our calves. Once again, we're holding on to any tension. Let it go. Moving up to our quadriceps and hamstrings. As we exhale, let any tension go. Finding our glutes, our hips, pelvic region. Exhale out the tension not serving us. Finding our way into our torso, all the way up to our shoulders. Relax them down, let the shoulder blades tuck underneath. Relax the chest into the earth and release any tension. Fingers, hands. Let the backs of the hands relax. Feel the tension leave the fingertips as you exhale. Let the forearms, the upper arm, triceps and biceps and shoulders sink down, releasing tension, and let it go. And last, the neck and the head. Think about releasing the tension in the forehead, the jaw, the cheeks, the eyes, even the eyelids. Let it go. Let them relax. And the whole body. The next inhale, inhale nice and deep. And exhale out any last little bit of tension you're holding on to. Return to your free and natural breath. Tuck your right hand underneath the head. Knees come towards the chest and roll onto the right side. Take one breath. Press yourself up with the left hand into a comfortable seated position. Sitting nice and tall, you can open the eyes and return back to class. And I hope today you felt some release and feel a little looser in the shoulders, the armpit, the lat area, the calves, the hamstrings, and the glutes. And even maybe your jaw and the back of the neck are feeling better. Bring hands to heart center as we close class. Namaste. Thank you.